To the cloud. Well, good morning, guys. It is another Thursday. I think it's the 12th Thursday, maybe, of the year, give or take. Which that's like a quarter of the way through the year, which is wild. Any shout outs, any gratitude, any announcements that we want to start with this morning? Shout outs, gratitude, or announcements. I definitely want to give a shout out to Mary Simpson. I think she just had her 5th year anniversary with the team. Yay, Mary. Love to see it. Kevin, going to you, sir.
Yeah, well, gratitude to Mary too. Awesome call night yesterday in Austin, but also shout out to our team member over here in College Station, Jerry. While I was in Austin hanging out with y'all, he had a pretty productive day. He has sent a offer out for seller signature for a buyer, and he signed his first listing. So awesome job for him.
Yeah, there we go. That's how it's done. I love to see it. Love to see it. There is Prospecting Day. Place Prospecting Day is next week on the 25th. If you or your team don't do Prospecting Day, like no judgment, if you ever want to kind of ease yourself into it, and you're maybe not doing like day in the life of your database, that would be a good way to ease in. Like just spend the day just trying out doing the day in the life. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, just go to our place and just type in day in the life or prospecting day, and it's all there. This morning, we've got an awesome little sneak peek coming. We've got James Beaver from Envoy, and we've got Valencia from the Davis team. And we've got some stuff coming up in quarter 2. So let's just jump right into it if you guys want. Here we go. James, where are you located? Just for everybody to know.
Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. Do I have any Houston, Texas people? There's a few of you. I know you exist. So I'm excited to have James here. James, how long have you been with like Envoy, like a hot minute or a little bit
Yeah,
longer?
yeah. I signed up at Envoy in July of 2009.
Okay. All right. All right. That's a long time.
Yeah,
I love it. uh,
yeah.
you're going to prep us for quarter 2 because obviously you have been around more than most of us, which is pretty cool. We've got about 15-ish minutes. Let's just talk about how we're going to convert more deals in quarter 2 with Envoy as our partner. So maybe jumpstart us with, if we're not familiar with Envoy, like what are a couple products people are using right now that we should know about Envoy?
Well, I'll tell you a product that I think is grossly underutilized, that I think will become a lot more impactful as our market picks up steam, and that is the Cash Edge product. Cash Edge, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, is a program that allows you to convert your buyer into a cash buyer, basically. Okay, and so what we do here, just kind of high level, what it does is we get the client fully underwritten. Okay, so it's not a pre-approval; it's pre-approval, and then we send them to underwriting, and then we clear all their conditions. So they have no more conditions. We have an investor that we work with that says, hey, if you use this program after you've had them credit approved by underwriting, what we'll do is we're going to plan to get a mortgage for your client, but if the loan's not ready, if we're not ready to close on time, we'll pay cash for the house, and then the client closes on the loan after the fact.
So they're as good as a cash buyer.
Yeah. And so it is a product that it costs the client $500. It's a closing cost that gets added on. It's $500. And it has really helped a lot of customers beat out competing offers and actually get their home at a lower price. And here's what sellers love about it, in addition to the fact that there's a cash backup on it, is that the buyer puts 5% down in earnest money. Okay.
Oh,
Now that is so, if you're representing the buyer, you'd be like, why the heck would they do that? Well, they would do that because they've already been credit approved, right? We know they're good for the loan. We just need to get all the property related stuff cleared up. And so gives the seller a huge boost in confidence that this deal is going to close. That's why they're compelled to they may take a lower offer, right? Because that's a lot of money to have down in earnest money. But that product, if you think about it, guys, okay, this is kind of one of the things that I talk to folks about is we started to see mortgage applications drop in the fourth quarter of 2021.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so there's been a significant decline in transactions since that point in time. We've all kind of lived that, right? The last few years have been pretty rough. Well, last year, more people were applying for mortgages by far. Like I think it was 45 weeks roughly out of 52 weeks last year that more people applied for mortgages than the prior year. And we did not see a corresponding massive uptick in transactions, right? That stayed kind of flat. And so this year we're seeing more people applying than last year. And so what that tells me, guys, is from the fall of 2021 till now, we've seen a lot of pent-up demand, and I think a lot of people are starting to think about buying houses again. And when that happens, having a cash offer program like Cash Edge, I think could help your clients stand out on
I
that.
love that. Do you get any pushback on the earnest money being higher at all?
Um, well, you got to talk about it. You got to make sure they understand it and they're comfortable with it. So, like a first-time home buyer who's trying to use a down payment assistance program is probably not your guy, right?
Got it. Yeah.
But it's really great for somebody who does have down payment money. It, pushback, I don't think we get a whole lot of that. Because again, they've got a really high level of if the home doesn't appraise or inspections are a problem, you can get out of the contract, right? So your money's safe.
What if they need to sell their house first? Like, would they use this program or a different program?
They could use a different program. We have a program called On Deck, and what On Deck does is it's the same investor actually. They can sign an agreement with this particular investor that says, "Hey, if you haven't sold your current home by 6 months after you've bought your new home, then we'll buy it from you." Okay, you're going to list the house. They're not interested in buying that house. They're not interested in listing the house. What it does though is it allows us to remove their current home from their debt to income ratio. So if you've got somebody who can't qualify owning two homes at the same time, then that can be a great solution. And that costs $1,000. So you can kind of mash these two products together for a total of $1,500 that removes their current home from their debt to income ratio and makes them a cash buyer. Okay.
Actually, really good. That's wild.
Yeah, it's a great combo. Uh,
Um, how's affordability? Like, what conversations do we need to have around affordability? Anything in particular?
yeah, I think what right now we've seen a little bit of volatility because everything going on in the Middle East and oil prices and all that kind of stuff. But we are roughly 1% lower in interest rate than we were at the beginning of last year. Okay. That gives your client 10% more buying power. So if you're talking to a customer about affordability, I would say, hey, look, you can borrow 10% more for the same payment you would have gotten at the beginning of last year. Or, if you kept looking for houses and you kept finding yourself at a higher price point than you'd like to be at, you can now afford 10% more on your home price. So affordability is good. And then I again I kind of pair it back to like we've seen like 4 or 5 years of pent up demand now. And I think if you think about affordability, if you can afford a home right now and you're ready to buy a home right now, why wait for this mob of people to come into the market that we're expecting that's going to drive home prices up, right? So, um,
I love that.
yeah,
Why wait for the mob of people?
yeah,
That's absolutely a good line. I don't know if any other areas are experiencing it, but we have had pockets in Austin now where we have had listings go into multiple offers, and we haven't seen that for I don't know how many years now, right?
yeah,
So that's great news. Great news.
yep.
If we jump into conversion, what makes a referral convert versus that referral that we send you guys just fall flat and die?
Um, that's a great question. So I think two things. One is the what we ask for. Let's just go to the fundamentals, and then I'll get to the more
Sure.
stuff that I think is massively impactful. We ask for three things when you refer someone over to us. One, you've had a valid real estate conversation with them. Two, they've expressed some interest in buying a home. Now, I tell people, I don't care if that's today or a year and a half from now. We want to talk to them and help them get ready. Okay. So they've expressed a desire to purchase a home. And then the third is um, they'd like to talk to us to get more information. Or maybe said differently, they're expecting to have a conversation with us. Okay. If those three things have happened, that's someone we want to talk with. If you go into Brivity and hit the Envoy referral button, select your loan officer, okay, and submit it. Remember, throw notes in there for us. Anything that you can give us that gives us a sense for what's going on with this client is helpful. And also, you've got those urgency buttons like now, today, tomorrow, nurture. Um, those are not going to tell us like, oh, take your time getting to the customer. It tells us the tone
Mm-hmm.
that we need to have when we talk to them. And then send a three-way text. Okay, the three-way text, guys, is so, so huge. If you introduce us to your client directly on a text, it increases the likelihood that we're going to actually connect with them by 75%. That's huge. Okay. Now that's different than a lot of realtors that I've worked with through my career have done where they're like, "Hey, James, will you call this person?" Or, "Hey, I gave this client your name and number." Just make the direct introduction. Okay.
What
That
was that percentage? 70 what?
75% more likely we connect if you
Wow.
combine a three-way text into the introduction. Actually, somebody told me last month that that's now at 79%, that the last
Wow.
time Envoy did an evaluation on that. So just following those fundamentals, guys, is huge. But what I believe is the most impactful is conviction.
Okay.
Like if you guys understand the importance of having a really solid lender working on a transaction for you, that comes through in how you communicate to your clients and they will take you more seriously. So, has anybody ever had a transaction just go totally sideways because of financing? Hopefully not with Envoy. Okay, Adelina has. All right. So, what I would encourage you guys to think about is the impact that that has on your customer and on you, your time. Your time is the thing you can't get back, and it has value, right? And what I want to make sure everybody understands is Envoy is not a vendor that's going to bring you donuts and hope you send them business. Okay, we are your mortgage company. Place bought Envoy to build us around you guys. So the stuff that I've seen Envoy pull off for Place teams and agents and your clients is mind-boggling to me after being in the business for 25 years. So what I would tell you guys is, sit down and write out like, okay, how much money do I want to make this year? Okay, how many hours per week am I planning on working? And then figure out what your time is worth per hour. Okay, and then think about like, all right, if think back to a deal you've had that goes sideways. What does that do to your productivity? What does that do to your uh, referrals that come from that customer in the future? Right? All those things, then think about what the impact is to your earning potential, and have some conviction. I mean, you guys understand your client can pick any realtor. There's realtors everywhere. They picked you, right? So they're gonna trust your leadership. And so I would say come in with conviction. It really matters where they get their financing and how that transaction goes has a huge impact on you and your client. So
What do you see coming up in quarter two? What do we need to be paying attention to?
I would pay attention to you guys should all be getting the market spotlight every Monday. I would stay dialed in on that because there's a ton of volatility right now because of what's going on in the Middle East. And you're going to have a lot of a lot of clients who are going to be watching the news, and you need to be equipped with the facts of what's actually happening in the marketplace. Because again, going back to your leadership in the transaction with the client, um, the more you understand about what the economics are, what's going on, I think the better you'll be able to advise, not sell, but advise your clients. Okay. And so I would tell you guys, watch the stuff that's coming out in the market spotlight because it's every week. It's going to be giving you good information about what's going on. I do expect some volatility while this stuff's going on right now. Okay. And so I think that Q2 will be somewhat impacted by that. I would continue to watch inventory levels, and I would continue to watch uh, that chart that should be coming out with the market spotlight that shows you the number of people applying for mortgages, because that is a super early indicator of what's going on in the market. If a lot of people are applying for mortgages, they're coming.
How if someone doesn't have maybe they have questions or maybe they don't have a mortgage rep at Envoy, how can they get in touch with you? How can you hook them up with the right person to talk to?
Yeah.
'Cause you're our Texas branch manager. You're awesome. You've been here a long time, longer than some of us have been in real estate. How can they get in touch with you?
You guys can you can hit me on my email, which is I'll throw, is there a chat? There's a chat. I'll put my
Yeah.
email in here. Feel free to hit me on email. Feel free to hit me on our main phone number, which I'll also put in here, which is kind of my bat phone, if you will, coming at you. Okay. If you don't have a loan officer with Envoy that you're connected to, um, part of my job here is to make sure that's happening for people. Okay. So I'm working with place teams all over the country and trying to get the integration between Envoy and Place going. I would love to talk with you, get to know more about what's happening in your world and your business, and then find a great loan officer to connect you with.
All right, and the two programs we talked about, Cash Edge, really important with the market that we're going to go into, and then the
Yep,
on deck program,
that's
buy
right.
before you sell. You put both of those together, the cheapest products out there, guys. Like you're not
That's
going to
super
find
cheap.
someone, you're not going to find somebody that's going to do it for less than what Envoy is able to do it for you guys. So love that. Thank you, James, for giving us an introduction into what's coming up and what we should be doing. I'm going to switch over to Miss Valencia.
See you
And
guys.
thank you, thank you.
Thanks.
Valencia, here you are. If you guys haven't met Valencia, you have missed out because just by judging her by the smile on her face, she is an awesome, awesome mom, awesome human. And if you don't know her, she is one of the top appointment setters, not just in the company, but just in real estate, period. So she's coming down to Austin. She's coming down to San Antonio. She's going to do a class live and in person. You want to just give us a little bit, like a little sneak peek of like what they should expect?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Good morning. There's a lot happening, but I want to get you guys involved. I don't want to just talk at you if that's okay. I know you can't talk back at me, but get in the chat, okay? Because I'm sure we all have CRMs that are packed with leads, like names, numbers, and emails, and we put a number to it. If we had to guess, how many leads would you say you have access to in Brivity? Not people you've set appointments with, not past clients. Just put a number to it. How many are in your system that have a phone number, an email, and maybe even just a first name? What's your number? 60,000, thousands, right? Okay. Numbers are still coming in. That's fantastic. Now, I know that you all have taken the time to make the calls, practice your scripts, and you're maybe not getting the results you're looking for. Yeah, we can agree with that. And how many of us would say that we've caught ourselves saying it's the leads? They're the problem. Or maybe it's the market. The market is the problem. We've caught ourselves saying that sometimes, right? If we're honest, this is a safe space. You can tell the truth on yourself. We've all been there, right? But James just told us that mortgage applications just increased by 45% since 2021. So I don't think it's the leads because they're still curious, right? They're out there, they're putting in applications, and the market, the buyer demand is building up. Inventory is a little bit slow, but there are still homes out there that people can buy. So it might not be the leads. Somebody admitted it can't be me. It is you, Bart. It definitely is you. But honestly, guys, the problem isn't the leads or the market. The problem is actually broken systems. Now, not Berivity, because we know that's not broken at all, right? We have the best system in the industry. The problem we're referring to is the gap between that curious prospect to that committed client. This invisible hurdle, most agents don't even know how to get over it. But that's the point of Convert It. We actually help you figure out how to identify your obstacle in your business to connect the gap between that curious prospect and a committed client. Okay, so we focus on mindset right out of the gate. Before we even talk about scripts, we want to talk about scoreboards. Some of us as agents, we can be unnecessarily pessimistic or even unrealistically positive, and that's okay. But none of those will help you win in this market. We want to be resourcefully realistic, preparing for challenges, but always striving for the best. James just gave us two options to prepare for the challenges coming up in this market in the second quarter. Okay, whether it's the cash edge for $500 at closing for your client or the on deck opportunity that's just $1,000 at closing for your client. These are two ways to remain resourcefully realistic to be the resource for your client. And stop obsessing over the lag measures. We do that. I know no one has ever told you that. I don't want you to be obsessed over your closings. It's cool, but it's not going to help us pay the bills. We want to start with those lead measures, the activities we do every day that we can control, whether it's making the calls, hosting the open houses, setting those appointments. That is what's going to help us prepare for the second quarter to have a better business and finish strong, okay? And then motivation. I know I'm going really fast, but I want to be sure I respect y'all's time. Adelina gave me 2 thumbs up, so increase the speed. Okay, so motivation. Scuba diving, we definitely don't ever want to water ski or fly past things and conversations with our prospects. We want to ask questions. And if I were to tell you the one thing you could start doing today to help you in your business is get better at asking questions and listening for the answer. Prospecting day is coming up, and it doesn't matter what source you call. You have to be better at asking questions and listening for the response, okay? Because leads are driven by one or two forces: avoiding pain, whether it's a divorce, a house is too small, a death in the family, or even seeking pleasure. Those are the two things that leads are trying to move, or reasons they're making the move. Seeking pleasure could be a new baby, building equity, or maybe they just got married. So identifying their emotional why, scuba diving and asking great questions is the best way that you're going to be able to help the lead to be a resource for them. Okay. We go. Everybody okay? Cool. All right. And objections. Objections, they happen, they come up. You can anticipate them. You could feel it. When the conversation gets tense and you feel your stomach clench just a little bit because your lead is slamming on the brakes, don't panic. Ask a better question. If you do not like the answer that your lead just gave you, it's your fault. Ask a better question. Don't panic. Don't get upset. Don't get mad. Don't you dare shut down or become passive. Just ask a better question. If you come from curiosity, you'll always be able to help them find a solution. Whether it's one of the awesome lending options from our team at Envoy, or maybe you just got to take a back seat and help them self-discover what's really important. Maybe waiting the market out is not as important as moving to get an extra bathroom because the kids keep yelling and fighting every morning. We're never going to figure that out unless we ask a better question and become very curious in how we can help them. All right. And once you've successfully uncovered the objection, you want to deploy what we call a personal pitch. This is your value proposition. It can be a statistic, a fact, or even a story. It's customized to your lead's reframed objection so you can communicate what's in it for them, the importance of why they should work with you to solve their problem. You come from curiosity, identify the problem, and present a solution. It's very simple after we do this a few times, okay? So you can move from the commodity agent, like James said earlier. There are agents everywhere. They can pick anybody to work with, right? But you want to move from the commodity agent to a necessary resource in their real estate transaction. And the only way you can become that necessary resource is if you take the time to identify what's going on in their world, what's important to them. Our goal is to deliver the dream of home ownership everywhere. We're only going to be able to do that if we take the time to identify their dream and understand it. All right. We also cover voicemails, which are pretty important. A lot of phone calls, as you could imagine, go to voicemails. If you were to make 100 phone calls right now, we all get off the phone, off of Zoom, and we decide, go make 100 phone calls. How many of those phone calls would you guess would end in a voicemail? Pop your number in the chat. 90, 30, 95. Fantastic. 79. You guys are pretty close. The answer is 97. 97 of those phone calls that you make are going to end in a voicemail. And the callback ratio is less than 5%. I know, that kind of sucks, right? So you spent all this time dialing all these numbers, and less than 5% of them will call you back. But an implemented, scripted, well thought out voicemail can get your callback ratio up to 22%. We also
Wow.
cover that and convert it with just 5 strategies. This voicemail strategy, when implemented correctly, you can increase your callback ratio from less than 5 to 22%. That's fantastic, right? Giving you more opportunities to get voice to voice or even face to face with leads to deliver their dream of home ownership. We also cover ways to help you stop chasing the lead, but earn the commitment. Commitment by reviewing, interviewing, and getting paperwork signed to activate the next step in their real estate transaction. And we get leads don't always show up, right? They're kind of flaky, they're humany. It happens. But in Converted on the road, you will learn that by putting people on hold to increase their anticipation, carving out time to meet with them will help the appointment feel much more exclusive, and then giving them 2 times that there are options available to ask for their commitment is the best way to lock in that appointment. And once you do these steps within 48 hours in booking that appointment, it'll give you closer to a 95% chance that they'll show up for that appointment. I know I just threw a whole lot of information and numbers at you, but it is well worth the time. And I do see that Converted on the road, that information has been put in the chat. So we could open it up for questions, Adelina, or let me know, what did I miss?
Questions, anyone? While you think about it, I got a question. Anything we need to do to prepare?
Absolutely. Bring something to write with. You might want your computer. I know we got some typers. Writing may be a little bit ancient, but in preparation, definitely bring your notes.
Okay. All right. Be a note taker. Any other questions, guys? All right. For the class, San Antonio dates are.
San Antonio, we will be the 20. Oh, I should have been prepared. I should have known you would ask. Thanks, Yvette. March the 27th. Ding, ding,
There you
ding.
go. There you go. It's not Valencia's job to know. She'll be there. It's our job to know, people. So San Antonio, and then Austin on the 10th. And how much time are we spending with you?
You guys, we're going to be locked in a room together for 3 hours. So bring a snack, some water, and some notes because it's going to be a great time.
I love that. All right, it is 9 o'clock on the dot. We will see Valencia on the 27th and on the 10th. We will see all of you guys next week. Appreciate you. Love what the market is doing for us now. It is a nice little break from the chaos we have had. And yet, we will all do better when we do better. So, we will see you next week. Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you, Valencia. Thank you, James. Thank you, everybody. See you later. Bye, guys.